Live from the Talking Joe studios,
it's Talking Joe with Chief and Chris. Hey, it's me, Chiefy Two Shoes, joined by my good buddy,
Diagnostic AT, aka Chris McLeod. How are you doing, my man?
Yes, I am here. I am not bad. Have had a semi-non-interesting week. All I did really
I thought you were just going to say you had a semi. I was like, that's really personal, mate.
All week. And all I did really was played and completed Gears of War on the Xbox 360, going back in time.
Wow.
Go back in time. Actually, that means I need to watch Back to the Future.
Sorry, Karen.
A little bit of Huey Lewis and the news, of course. So I thought I played just before you had come on and, taken up the co-host duties. I had played and completed and was telling Ben Halo on Xbox.
Nice.
And I was going to run through all those Halos. Started on Legendary setting, of course. Started Halo 2, found it incredible. It was the only one of the series that I've never done on Legendary, but again, I found the stumbling point of my previous tries and I couldn't get past it.
I hate that. So hard.
I thought I was looking over at the shelf, which I'm looking at now, and I thought, I've got Gears of War 1, 2 and 3 on the 360. I thought, do they hold up? Not sure. So whacked in number 1, and it really does hold up. I actually really, really enjoyed it. So I'm going to move on to number 2 next. And then, as numbers go, I will move on to number 3.
As chronological
as
numberage happens.
Yes,
yeah,
correct.
Numerical orders.
The other thing I did was, after we spoke briefly and I watched the original Predator, 1987, a few weeks back. Yeah, there you go. Last night I decided to watch The Predator.
Oh, right,
which is last year's remake. Or not remake, sorry. It's because it's a continuation. Because they reference that Predators came here in 1987.
Of course, Belize.
And I thought it was really poor.
Yeah, pretty much.
I felt it. We won't spend too much time on this, but I felt it had a hard time straddling the line between full-on action, really, really hyper-violent gore, and kind of black comedy. And it just didn't get any of those beats right.
No,
I don't
agree.
mind. I don't mind any of those 3, but I think for me, go full bore for one of them. And it felt at times it didn't know what it wanted to be. It's like hyper violent, and the kid ends up killing people, and his dad's shooting people in the face right in front of him. And it's like, is that supposed to be funny?
It's
not?
weird.
I'm not sure.
It's a real letdown for me because I'm a huge Predator franchise guy, and I say that, but Predator's like the only decent Predator. Well, Predator 2 was fun, bit crazy, but it's still nowhere near the original. The closest they've come, I think, is Predators, which is the
Adrian Brody one, is it?
Yeah, the Rodriguez version. And I like that. I think it almost did what The Force Awakens did for A New Hope. It kind of took a lot of the beats from the original, but kind of put it in a different setting in a sense. And that's kind of what I feel like Predators did. And I'm not saying Predators is a brilliant, amazing film. It's okay, but that's what I'm saying. Like, they haven't been able to capture that absolute quality that was the first Predator movie in my opinion.
I have seen Predators, but I cannot remember any of it. So is it better than The Predator?
Oh god, yeah. The Predator was a real letdown because I really thought something good was going to come out of it, and it's just utter garbage. And the end sequence, did you know that, spoiler alert, at the end of that movie, when the main character guy with his beret, and he looks really odd with a beret. He does not have the face shape for a beret.
No. His hair looked painted on, didn't it?
Yeah, and also like that uniform. I know it's I think they were copying an actual military uniform, but it's like 2 completely different colours, top and bottom. Yeah. It's like, what's the point? It's weird. Anyway, sorry, that was a weird tangent. But anyway, he goes into... They've got that kind of item that they've kind of retrieved.
The Predator killer.
Yeah, and it opens up. And do you know what it was originally supposed to be before they had to change their minds?
To me, this is what it looked like to me. As soon as it came, and I don't know what you're going to say, but to me, what it looked like was, as it came out, I was like, oh my god, it's an alien.
Yeah.
And then I thought they were trying. It was just a fake out on the audience that it was a bluff. Of course it's not really an alien. Joke's on you, chumps. But you're going to tell me that they actually did plan to make it an alien.
It wasn't going to be an alien. It was going to be Ripley.
Oh my!
Sigourney
Jesus.
Weaver. That's who it was going to be originally, and then we don't get that. We get this weird thing where like this. It was like an automatic predator suit comes out, and it's just so gross. I mean, it's so poorly written and a bit rubbish. But anyway, enough of Predator. Yeah. The Predator. Let's move on to
what have you been doing?
What I've been doing.
Yeah.
Let's move on to what I've been doing. I've been writing a new screenplay for Predator. No, I have been up to my bum hole again in work, but had a nice little... I say nice little break. I took a little drive up to Ohio, 8 hours to Ohio to see a bunch of friends out there. Aaron and Sarah from Roma Collectibles, and Kenny, who it was his diaper party. He's having a child, and they put on this kind of like male baby shower party kind of thing. Wowzers. But it was amazing because we went to Aaron's mom's house, which is absolutely beautiful and huge and amazing, and had this huge awesome party in her basement, which is decked out with a bar, a pool table, like loads of arcade machines, lights, music. It's amazing. And so there was about, I don't know, like 20 odd people there downstairs in this basement thing having an amazing time, and it was a great little party. Wicked. And then we drove back on Sunday because Kate had to be at work on Monday, and that's pretty much the weekend. Yeah, but it was really fun, great to see the guys again, and congratulations, Kenny, on soon to be having a child.
Yeah, well done, Ken. Big up yourself. You're not firing blanks after all.
Well, Ken is not firing blankers, exactly.
Perfect.
Yeah, nice. I like that. I don't know where this segment should have gone, if it should have gone before what we just talked about, but of course we need to talk about beverage for the show.
Oh!
Beverage for the show. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Beverage for the show. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Now I am gonna go do-do and drink my beverage for the show.
Yes, so I have in my hands this week, after last week's debacle with the kombucha.
Oh my goodness! That was a weird thing to say.
That as well. I have a Fanta. Now I've had Fanta before, but what I haven't had is a Fanta Toronja. And now I think that is just because I get most of my new drinks from the International Food Store at the end of my road. Nice. But it then actually does say grapefruit flavoured soda.
You're not going to believe what I have in my hand.
And it says 12 fluid ounces. It's an American can, which is 355 mils, because in the UK we have 330 mils. And I'm not going to believe it that you do not have a Fanta grapefruit.
No, I have a grapefruit citrus drink, though, which is interesting.
Wicked. We're very similar this week.
I think our beverages have started to sink. Our beverage cycles are sinking.
I'd just like to say to the listeners out there is no collusion on this show.
None at all. Like, because half the time I have to kind of rush out at the last second to go,
half the time I give Chris 5 minutes notice for everything. So, So this is it. And they make a point here of saying two things on the can: caffeine-free,
nice,
and 100% natural flavours.
Interesting.
Let's have a look at this. Let's have a go. Yep, taste of sparkling, and it tastes of grapefruit.
Nice.
And
classic
there's also on the back, which you don't generally get on UK-based products, in big bold letters, contains less than 1% juice.
I thought you were going to say causes cancer.
Not sure. Like that. Is that a selling point? It contains less than 1% juice.
It's not really a selling point, is it? Unless you hate juice.
Yeah, why would you put it in big letters at the top? But anyway, so far I'm impressed with this can, and it also gives me 25 mils extra over what I'm used to from a can.
Yeah. Nice.
And you've explained your drink to me.
Okay, well, I have gone yet again for another Zevia product because that's all that was in the fridge at the last minute. I always forget beverage for the show and then go like, oh, yeah, I've got to kind of do that. And it's only a couple of times where I've been out and gone, oh, yeah, perfect, I've remembered, I'll grab one of those. But I've got another Zevia. It is a 0-calorie soda. And this time, instead of, I think it was strawberry I had last time, I'm having grapefruit citrus. Naturally flavoured. No sugar, no artificial sweeteners, caffeine-free, It's basically just air in a can, I think.
Yeah, nice.
Maybe
not so nice.
Let me pop this bad boy.
Do it.
Oh, yeah.
Satisfying. That was satisfying.
Oh, it was when it was a long one as well. That went on for ages.
Yeah.
Here we go. It's going in my mouth, Kitty said.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right. It's a it's like it's very similar to obviously the other Zevia I had, where it's got a little bit of that kind of Diet Coke aftertaste. I don't know even how to describe that aftertaste. It's like almost like it goes completely like, I don't know, like sparkling water almost, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Anyway,
I know what you're
it's
saying.
nice. It's refreshing and it's bright.
Yeah, good stuff. On a not so bright note, we got to go inside Chief's mind. I'll keep it brief this week.
Liar.
People.
Again, it's always people.
Yeah, it's always people, and especially if you're a person who happens to be my wife. So basically, I'm saying my wife, who I dearly cherish and love, but she has discovered something very recently, half of which is good, all of which is good, but not all of which is good for me right now. I'll explain very briefly.
Right.
I don't want to get on to talking about comics. She has made her new religion to be trying to be plastic free. Now, this began with trying to be single-use plastic free, so we're trying to cut down mainly foods, not buying any foods that are wrapped in plastic, or domestic cleaning products, cosmetic stuff, and it's a bit more pricey for a start.
Yeah,
but we're kind of, she's full bore on it. She's well into it. I'm getting to grips with it. I'm trying, but I like crumpets, and they all come in plastic, and a few other things. But the reason why she's on this show right now, because she wants to get rid of all plastic. So I came home to make a loaf of bread. Where's my really nice mixing bowl that's plastic? Oh, that's gone. Charity shop.
Oh,
okay, fine.
No.
Well, I'll go and buy a loaf of bread. Where's my chopping block? Oh no, that was plastic. Got rid of it.
No.
So I have to go and buy a new wooden chopping
wooden
block.
one. We've got a wooden one.
Yeah. Where's my Tupperware to take my lunch to work in? Oh no, I got rid of that. What?
Wow.
So how do I take my lunch to work? What? Just in a brown paper bag?
Hell
what,
yeah.
Like spaghetti noodles or whatever in a brown paper bag. It's not going to work, is it? So she's replaced those Tupperwares with glass bowls with bamboo lids that weigh about a ton each in my rucksack on the way to work.
Well, that's good, because that just means more weight training, doesn't it, as you
yes, exactly. So she's making me stronger, is what you're saying.
Yeah. It's all good, man.
Not mentally, no. So I'm on board because, plastics are probably bad, and, even though they're supposed to be safe, especially in a cooking environment, I'm sure chemicals and stuff do leak out of plastics, and especially it's one of those things where there's for and against for everything. She's been reading books where it's bad for hormones, especially in young girls. Obviously, we've got a young girl and leaking into the food, but I'm sure there's research on the other side of the fence that says actually, it's all fine. So
yeah.
Whether you believe everything you read or not, I don't know. But, we're trying to do our bit. But what my problem is if you want to chuck stuff out, just ask me first. Now, she's telling me we've got to get rid of all the saucepans because we can't use Teflon, because Teflon is one of the worst things you can possibly have in your house.
Wow.
So she wants to get stainless steel pots and pans. Well, who's going to be scrubbing those stainless steel pots and pans when the eggs or the beans have stuck to the bottom of it and you can't scrub them off?
You.
Me. Muggins.
Yeah. Muggins here.
Yeah, Muggins here, because she won't do any washing up. She's dishwasher only. So then the other thing was we can't eat out of tins anymore. No tinned food. Because apparently that contains BPA on the inside of food cans.
Big association.
I'll tell you who'll be on board with this. Auntie Jenny in Australia. She'll be all on board this sort of stuff. But
what's up, Auntie J?
We're trying, and what my beef is, I don't mind if you want to maybe get rid of some stuff, but consult me first.
You can't have beef. It's got beef in it.
You can't have beef. It's got beef in it. But,
it's got plastic in it.
There you go. What's getting on my wick this week? My missus, when she don't consult me before chucking plastics out.
She'd have had an absolute ball chucking stuff of mine away, like all of the toys I've collected over the years.
Yeah. No, we're not allowed to buy any new plastic toys for the kid. If anyone, like, her birthday's coming up soon, end of the month. If anyone wants to get any gifts for her, not the listeners, I'm talking about family. It's not. I'm not doing a present drive for my kid. But if anyone, she's told all the family members, if you want to buy any presents and it's got plastic, it has to be a second-hand plastic from charity shop. So it's plastic that's already in circulation.
You'll come home tomorrow and be like, "Where are the kids?" I had to throw them out. They had some plastic on them.
Too much plastic in them. Anyway, what we're really here for is to talk about some G.I. Joe comics, because it's time for Comic Talk.
Comic talk, oh, comic talk. Larry Hama writes them, Chief and Chris discuss them, whoa. Comic talk, oh, comic talk. Larry Hama writes them, Chief and Chris discuss them, whoa.
Comic talk. Larry Hama writes. Sometimes Hub Trimpy writes them. Okay. Let's do
So this week we are, and I cannot remember at the end of last week if I gave the listeners the correct homework information.
Yeah, I don't think
regardless, we did 101 to 103 last week. This week we are doing 104 to 107, which is going to be, and again, this is something I sprung on Chris about 5 minutes ago. I'd originally told him 104 to 106.
It's all good, man.
In fact, I think I said that on the show last week. I think I did say we're going to do 3 last week, 3 this week, 6-issue story. And of course, I read ahead on the train home today, and 107. I thought, this is a little bit of an epilogue to the last story, so we're gonna jam it in there.
Fair enough.
Jam it right on in there.
Jammer, incidentally, is the UK version of Stalker, kind of.
I've got him.
Stalker's
I've got
in
him.
this.
I'm looking at him right now, actually. Red beret.
Yeah.
On the Jammer figure. Yeah, I've got him. Right, anyway, so let's just have a look at these covers. 104, Hero of the People. This is a Lee Weeks cover. Snake Eyes.
I'm going to say something really controversial here.
Okay, 3 things to note here. There's a stealth bomber flying off in the background. Snake Eyes is parachuted out.
Cool.
And then you've got some cloud, which is coming through, and in the cloud is Scarlet's face.
Yeah, with a wrapping on her head.
I like it.
I do too, but do you know what? My controversial statement is going to be that I think that the splash page just inside is like so much better and would have been like a really cool cover. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
like,
page 1, yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, carry on. It is a good cover, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. It's a banger.
The Assassin Unleashed. And then 105 is called Hidden Aces, or the issue is called Hidden Aces. On the cover, you've got, who have you got here? You've got Dana and Roadblock.
Blind Block. Or Road Blind.
A couple of chumps in the background there. Misha and Dragonsky. Wild
Bill and Hot Seat.
Yes.
On the Raider.
There you go. And inside, Darklon's forces pursue the Joes, while Snake Eyes is stalked in Barovia. It's a serviceable cover. It's
all right.
It is what it is. That's Lee Weeks again. Lee Weeks is going to be on internal pencils for 107, by the way, which is nice because I like his stuff.
Yeah, so do I. Big time.
106, I Lift My Lamp. This is Major Blood is on the case, and he is looking down his scope at Snake Eyes. Bang, bang, you're dead.
Nice.
Another Lee Weeks cover. And then 107.
It'd have been funnier if they'd have had him looking through the site with his with his eye patch.
Or if he was using that City Snoop from issue, whatever it was. 99
from issue
whatever.
Chad Bowers, we'll call it from now on.
Yeah. It was before that, wasn't it? It was in the Snake Eyes trilogy.
Yeah.
107, Enter the Night Creepers, and here you've got Stalker and Storm Shadow, fugitives of the US government. Nice little bit of muzzle flash off Stalker's
I kind of
gun.
feel they've given Stalker his wrong gear. They have, haven't they?
Yeah, well, at this point in time, he was obviously in his kind of snow gear, if you will.
Tundra.
Is it snow gear?
Tundra.
Yeah, moving on.
All right.
Larry Hama writes all these. Mark Bright is on, let's have a look. Mark Bright's on pencils for 104, 105, 106, and Lee Weeks is on pencils for 107. So this is carrying on from last week where
Scarlet is awake.
Yeah, Tommy's put Snake Eyes in the Arashikage mindset, giving him the toughest mission. Oh, he went to the Jugglers, didn't he? That's right. He went to the Jugglers and said, give us the toughest mission ever. George Strawhacker, who happened to be the guy who was going to marry Snake Eyes' sister, who was unfortunately, she was killed in a car accident.
Marvel Balls.
He is a prisoner in a gulag in Barovia, and give him the toughest mission. Let's send in Snake Eyes to get him out. However, as a backdrop to that, the Jugglers and whoever they answer to don't want George Strawhacker coming out alive.
True dat.
Because he's going to spill the beans. spilled a can of beans, hopefully not a tin of beans, because my missus will go ape. And then the other thing that's happening here is in Sierra Gordo, the Joes and October Guard who've teamed up. They're now on the run from Darklon and his forces, but they've teamed up with the local Tucaros or Turocus or Tacos or whatever they're called. Yeah, Tucaros. And they're trying to escape. And that's the main crux of what's going on here. And then maybe we'll tackle the epilogue, the epilogue 107 as a separate bit. But let's look at this Sierra Gordo stuff. Let's talk about that. So I feel that this storyline went downhill. I really enjoyed it in 103 to 104, and for some reason, I'm not sure why, but these 104 to 106, I don't know what happened, but it just didn't grab me as much.
I think one of the problems I have with it is the fact that it's just effectively them when they come into Sierra Gordo, when they come to land in Sierra Gordo, they're obviously attacked by Darklon's forces, and then it just becomes like a big cluster fudge, and they end up just being chased the entire time. It just becomes like a really long extended chase scene, and it gets a little bit like, okay, we get it now, how about we do something else with this,
Yeah, I wonder if I'm not saying he ran out of ideas, but maybe the plotting 1 or 2 pages ahead, it just ran out of steam. But
yeah,
there's a bit they introduce a new vehicle here, don't they? The Locust.
Yes.
And does this come with a pilot, or is it kind of whoever's about? Normally, Wild Bill.
Oh, we're in 105 now, aren't we? We've skipped an issue.
Well, 104 for this storyline, it only really covers the last few pages. Yeah, because the first lot of that is all the Snake Eyes stuff, which will come on.
So I was just highlighting the fact that the Locust is in 105 as opposed to the previous issue. But
sorry, because at the end of 104, they're on the run, and your man Annibal, who's leading the natives, over the ridge. There's a tropical rainforest, and Darklon will never be able to catch us there. And of course, last page reveal. Wait a minute, it's all been cut down.
Yeah, wiped out.
So they've got nowhere to run,
no home.
Then like you say in 105, here comes the Locust. This is just a mini copter, is it? Or
so it was basically the Locust came out in 90 on its own, but then was also released kind of part of the General, which is such an amazing, I'm not talking toys right now, but I am talking toys. Yep. And it is just an absolute beauty of a playset. I loved it. It was so ridiculous and massive and stupid. But so the Locust you could get, much like, say, the Crusader and the Defiant. So you get this Defiant launch complex, which obviously includes the Crusader shuttle, but then also you could get the Crusader shuttle separately as a single boxed item as well. Okay. I would say similar, but the Locust is tiny. So, and I thought it was really cool, especially with the General. There's like a little depressed section at the top middle helipad area where the rails, like the landing rails of the helicopter, the Locust can slot into. It's really cool. I loved it. But so the Locust I really like as a little mini, that's kind of attack helicopter or recon helicopter. Yeah,
I've got an advert here in the middle of my issue, and it's for Narc. No one had the guts until now. A new game from Acclaim. Yeah, remember this? It says the arcade smash, simultaneous 2-player action. Now, I played this in the arcade whenever this came out, 1990 or whatever, but I never saw it on a home console. This is for the NES. And what do you reckon the lead character's called? You're not going to guess. You are Max Force. Yeah. Your mission: bust Mr. Big and destroy the dreaded criminal empire. Seize all contraband, stolen money, illegal weapons. Use rocket bombs, high-powered machine guns. Apprehend all suspects. Protect the innocent and punish the guilty. Stop at nothing.
I think I might be wrong in saying this, but my good friend Wordburglar, who is a rapper who has released an amazing array of albums and recently as well, I'm sure he did a track called Narc where he mentions in it that he got the top score in that game and wrote it into one of the magazines and they published it. I'm going to have to double check on if it was Narc or not, but I'm sure it's Narc.
Let me take you on an 8-bit trip into a past life so vivid, feels like it was last night. 5 buttons, 2 hands, 1 choice, the red or the blue man. And let me tell you, these guys were bristled, so skilled they could jump and fire missiles. It was the 90s, I was a perfect target for Narc, a somewhat obscure cartridge.
In which case, I'll send you all the information for a Twitter post after this.
Sounds good. I just remember it being really hard. That's the only thing I remember about it.
Aren't all of those games really hard? Like, seriously?
Yes.
Anything on the NES I used to find, like, so difficult. I got Skate or Die. Funnily enough, I got Skate or Die the same Christmas I got the General. So that would have been about 91, I think. And I remember playing Skate or Die and just being like, my God, this is the hardest game I've ever played in my life. Yeah. And then I remember the Turtles game on the NES. Oh, my God, that was so difficult. Yeah. Top Gun.
Battletoads was a killer.
That was so hard. Oh, my God. Yeah. Anyway.
What is a train track doing in the middle of this jungle?
What was a locust doing in the middle of the jungle? Where did that come from?
Yeah, where did that come from? Maybe that came from the train, but there is a train which is pretty much running through this jungle. I don't know how that would have happened. And on it is the
Raider.
It's snake stopping season, and we're going hunting with a G.I. Joe Raider. Nobody beats G.I. Joe, G.I. Joe Raider.
That's it, the Raider. That's a bad boy.
It is gangster, isn't it? Yeah. And it's got like loads of cute features.
We introduced a couple of new Joes here. Obviously the driver, which is Hot Seat, am I right?
Correct.
And a new replacement for Lifeline, who was a replacement for Doc, who needs a replacement, as we'll see coming up in a few issues' time. Stretcher, spoilers. Stretcher.
Yeah, Stretcher's awesome. He's this huge...
Never heard of him.
Oh, mate. He's this huge muscle-bound medic. Brilliant. Yeah, he's
looks
really
a bit
cool.
like Hardball.
Yeah, very Hardball-esque. Yeah, totally.
But it seems pretty... I mean, he doesn't get up to much in these particular issues, but he seems pretty cool. Quite like
He is very cool. His figure, again, I'm talking toys constantly throughout this one, and it, but his figure was amazing. It came with almost like this kind of like Serpentor air chariot type thing. I know that's really weird to envision, but it was like a clear perspex screen, almost like a kind of like a curved triangular base with 3 little legs, and then this joystick on it which he could stand on. And I kind of thought like it was just like a field, not stretcher, because it's not a stretcher, or it should have been longer if they wanted it to be a stretcher, but apparently it was for carrying people off battlefields and stuff like that. Right. But it's really cool.
Yeah, good stuff. And you mentioned that the Raider's got a lot of gadgets and stuff.
Well, it has a lot of good cool features, doesn't it? Yeah.
Well, we see that kind of play out here, don't we? They make a point early on in these issues of the Razorbacks being able to kind of tilt their turrets up with their ball cannons and fire down. And to start with, that goes as a negative because the Raider kind of comes in underneath their angle of fire, their trajectory. And we kind of saw that trajectory thing play out on that issue where I think it's 80, where they're attacking that island in the Gulf.
Yeah.
And the maggots are lobbing their rounds, trying to get them on top, but they can't. They're overshooting because of the angle of the fire. And here it's kind of playing again. So someone who basically Destro, get your vehicle designers to sort their life out because you're putting these design flaws in them all.
Get your angles sorted out, mate.
Get your angles sorted, man. There's a snooker player called Alan McManus, and his nickname is called Angles.
Yeah,
so maybe get him to design. Maybe get him to design. Yeah, no one knows what I'm talking about. And then they're going down some trenches. The Raider on one side and the Razorbacks on the other. They pop up to pop a cap in the Raider and all the other guys, and then what's this thing here? They've got some on stilts. They got some sort of rocket launcher.
Basically, just one of the sections of the Raider extends and can turn, and then that section, has the missiles on it and can fire, and then it just pops back down again when it's finished blowing up.
And the other reason they get away, Darklon thinks, they're out of ammo. I've got a full complement. But then suddenly a Razorback pops up, and this was the native dudes. They just wanted one shaped satchel charge, and they basically got into a Razorback and hijacked it.
We didn't really mention that point in the story where they go their separate ways. The Takaros kind of say to the Joes, this isn't your fight. We're going to go back and do. This is for it might not be strategically the best thing to do, but we have to do what we have to do. And so they go their separate ways. They only take a satchel charge from the Joes, and they use it when one of the demons kind of lags behind with an issue. They're trying to fix it. The Takaros kind of jump on on the top of this demon, and the guy's like, don't worry, they can't get in unless they've got a satchel charge. And then the next thing you see is this Razorback, takes out the other, that takes out Darklon and his demon, which is pretty gangster.
That's kind of it for that storyline.
Pretty much, yeah.
They kind of just wave to him and, see you later. And it feels like it. I think it had a lot of potential when we talked about it last week, but this time, especially with the relationship, I liked all that stuff with Muskrat and Dana, and then who's the dude who's cracking onto Lady J?
Gorky,
and all that kind of stuff, and Flint, and Roadblock getting blinded and having to carry Misha. I thought that was like really, really good stuff. And now what they've done here, like you mentioned, it just is an extended chase scene. The October Guard don't even need to be in these issues.
No.
They don't do anything. Nothing happens with the Roadblock being blinded or anything, and they just get away. And it's another one of those ones where G.I. Joe just kind of gets chased off the patch.
Yeah.
That's it.
They've exchanged fire. They've come out of it alive, and that's about as far as you get really with it. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I mean, you get cracking Mark Bright art, so it looks nice. But story-wise, I think, I don't know. I
prefer the Snake Eyes story.
The potential from the first 3 issues of this storyline just didn't match up, or were superior, and the what we just read didn't match up to it. But anyway, let's move on to the Snake Eyes storyline. So this is pretty much balls out action from the get-go. He's landed in Barovia, which is in a state of civil war between the lower Barovians and the upper Barovians.
Yeah, those poor middle Barovians.
Where are they in all this shakeout? We don't even see
They're in
them.
the middle, mate.
Yeah. Yeah, fact. There's riots going on. The secret police are trapped in some room with all their guns. And I tell you what I noticed about these first few issues is the way that Mark Bright draws Snake Eyes. He's all about movement.
Yes.
A lot of these panels he's in, great panels where he's hanging from the guttering and he falls down, and then where he's leaping over or swinging on poles and leaping through windows and chucking stuff. He's never drawing him just literally standing still. He's always in an action movement pose, and he's really good at that.
I think it's great. And I don't necessarily... it's not so much the story I'm that into, but the action is just so beautifully done. And then, he's taken them all out, and obviously because he can't talk, Larry relies on the other characters in the panels to explain to the reader what's going on, even though you kind of know. But the fact that he's like, oh no, he's run out of ammunition. We can turn the gun on him now, and then all of a sudden he's got the trench knives. That's what I was trying to remember that last time. They're called trench knives. Yeah. That was the word I was trying to find.
Got it.
And anyway, he pulls those bad boys off his chest, which you can see are on his chest, but sometimes they're not on some of the shots, and sometimes they are. Yeah. So that's a funny little continuity error. But those come out, and it's like, they're just getting thrown out the windows, all cut to pieces and everything, and he's just going absolutely nuts. He makes his kind of escape, and this guy, was it Metz? Is it Metz?
Yeah.
He's like a scumbag.
At first, he does the full 180-degree turn into at first you think, okay, he's standing up for the little man, and he's leading these guys to overthrow the government or whatever, or the other Barovians. But then gradually over these issues, you see him make that turn into full scumbag mode. Yeah,
it's like the absolute power corrupts kind of scenario, doesn't it? Yeah.
Now, I have got an unpopular opinion here, and I am not a fan of this Snake Eyes outfit. That is tumbleweed.
Okay. This the way he's drawn in. Why? Tell me why.
Tell me why. He just looks too superhero-y.
Okay.
I don't know.
Is it the mask?
I think it possibly is the mask. Yeah. I just don't like the way that it's hugging his ears. It's probably the way Mark Bright draws him. As previously, I think I said I wasn't overly fussed on the way he draws Destro. It's metal face where he draws the ears. Here, it's just. I'm not sure. I just don't. I prefer. My favourite depiction of Snake Eyes is probably kind of maybe Jeff Senior's Action Force style.
Ooh, nice.
With the vibe, we saw we and if you haven't listened to it or seen it on YouTube, go and check out our Full Force Talking Force 2-part special, which is where we first came together and formed this Mega Powers unit. I believe you were Miss Elizabeth and I was Macho Man. You were Randy? No, I was Macho Man. You were Hulk Hogan, I think.
There we go. That's better. I can be Miss Elizabeth. I'm probably more like Miss Elizabeth than I am.
But we did
Hulk.
we did a full-on big couple of hour two-parter on all of the 50 issues of the original UK Action Force run, and we talked. One of our favourite covers was that issue 2 cover, which has the eel and Snake Eyes and Scarlet on it, and I love that depiction of Snake Eyes. And for me, that's my favourite outfit of his, and as drawn by.
I mean, that's like most people's favourite version of Snake Eyes. Right. That version 2, isn't it? That kind of with the visor and timber and all that kind of jazz. Yeah.
I thought this guy was held in quite regard. This version 3, it's version 3 for the UK, was it, and version 4 for the US? Or am I confusing it? Anyway, whatever he's wearing here, whatever the stuff he got from the Payne brothers.
Yeah.
That outfit.
I know that it's kind of almost, it's toned down, that particular outfit in this way, in the way that Mark Bright draws it. It almost seems to me, or it feels to me, like it's a made-up costume by Mark, rather than like he's really loosely basing it off the Payne brothers kind of get-up. Because if you look at the Payne brothers get-up, it's like real stark black. It's got loads of different details to it which aren't seen on this particular version, and he keeps his parachute on him most of the time, so you've got this kind of extra element attached to him, which is kind of interesting. I think he looks really cool, but for me, my all-time favourite Snake Eyes is one that we haven't seen yet, and that's that red and blue and grey version. Like, I think that is a version 4. But that is one of my favourite versions. Right, but in any case,
we'll talk to that given
we'll
time,
we'll get to that.
We also find out, and this I think I mentioned this last week or the previous episode, or the one before, sorry, what was Scarlet's sister's motive. And initially,
comes out,
it turns out that she did want the house. I thought it was to do with something like, the will or whatever, or what's going to be bequeathed to her. And then we kind of thought, maybe she was just, didn't want her sister growing up to be, disabled or in a coma or whatever. But as it turns out, she did want the house. As Scarlet says, you could have had it anyway. And then she
runs out crying, Yeah,
silly cow. Jugglers pop up again. Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes, fresh off putting Snake Eyes in the ninja trance, are
Stalker.
Darted. So who did I say?
I think you said Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow.
Yeah, all the same. They all begin with S.
True.
Stalker and Storm Shadow are bushwhacked by these scumbag jugglers and their MP goons, and basically they are just taken out of action because it's General Crowther, isn't it? He doesn't want them intervening or going to rescue their buddy. I don't know why. Let's put Snake Eyes in a trance. Wait a minute, and then let's go and rescue him. I don't know why that was a possibility.
There's a lot of odd threads here that I don't think necessarily tie together very neatly, or there's a lot of elements about it that I don't think are very tight. And one of those things is the fact that Storm Shadow's reason for doing this is a little bit weak. I didn't see that as an option really, and yet it comes up and you're kind of like, okay, whatever. It gets him on a mission, I suppose, but none of it really makes that much sense to me. It doesn't feel like a strong story, this particular one, for me.
I had very fond memories in this, and when we were getting to it, I was like, this is going to be absolutely cracking. But I was a little bit disappointed when I came to the conclusion. I was like, it wasn't as good. It's still good, but it wasn't as good as I remembered or hoped it would be.
Snake Eyes ends up rescuing, all said and done, ends up kind of in the sewer in a standoff. Major Blood is now in effect. He's been hired by one of the jugglers to take Snake Eyes out because they're real. They don't want Straw Hacker rescued. They were just obviously pressured by Storm Shadow to send him on to do it. So they're trying to clean up all of these dangling threads, basically. They're trying to kill off Storm Shadow and Stalker. They're trying to kill off Snake Eyes. Major Blood, his job was to make sure Straw Hacker didn't obviously get out and give away the information that he was holding about the Soviets or something along those lines, or give the information he had on the US to the Soviets, something along those lines. And Major Blood goes in to kind of take out Snake Eyes, ends up being captured himself, but in the hoi polloi after saving... Now, randomly we get the White Clown and Magda storyline, which again is like... I feel like I just don't... Sometimes I don't care for characters at all, and they're kind of characters I just couldn't give 2/3 of a about. And it's not... Yep. It's really just because I just don't think they bring anything to the story. Like, who cares about them?
Well, I feel like, first of all, the White Clown shows up and he's in full-on White Clown gear. Does this guy not just have street clothes?
I know, that's so hard. I mean, I don't know. It just seems a bit hokey to me.
But I think the reasoning here was you had Snake Eyes who's in this trance, and early on where they storm one of the buildings and they get the guys out, and Snake Eyes, in a normal scenario, would have intervened and stopped the crowd just killing. Metz wants to...
Metz sets up a firing squad.
An execution squad.
Yeah, to kill all of the lower Barovians. And
normally Snake Eyes would have intervened here, but he just walks away because obviously he's been put in this ninja trance. So you get an inkling of, wait a minute, something's not right here. And White Clown kind of goes down the same path. He realises that Magda is in the same gulag as George Strawhacker. Of course he is. Of course she is. Yeah. Then White Clown starts getting the Snake Eyes one vision kind of thing of, here's my path, I'm rescuing Magda at any cost, to the detriment of anyone around me. He starts making that turn, and it's his little dwarf buddy, I think, what's his name, Orlovsky, who is kind of his conscience trying to tell him to do the right thing. And then in the end, both of them, both him, White Clown and Snake Eyes, come round to both being, air quotes, good guys again.
Yeah.
And so I think that's probably why...
Strawhacker gets killed anyway, by Metz. Then Metz is going to be hanged, by the crowd, because they turn on Metz, sort of. So they're saying, like, you can't, this is wrong, but then they're doing the same thing that Metz was doing in the first place. So there's this kind of like... It's almost like this repetitive thing just keeps happening, and that's why I don't really like it. It's like, okay, I get it. If you're bad, you don't want to go do what the bad guys are doing. We understand that. But that's done like 3 or 4 times in a row. Yeah. Like almost in the space of about what would be real time of about 10 minutes. So you're just kind of like, oh, for God's sake, like, we get it. And then Snake Eyes has obviously come to at this point. And in the kind of side story, Stalker and Storm Shadow are talking about whether Storm Shadow's made, has he messed up here? And Storm Shadow's saying, well, if his morality kicks in, then that will overshadow the mindset, because if it's a strong moral thing has to be done, then his moral ethics will take over and the mindset will be broken. Then why didn't his moral ethics kick in when he heard that kid's dad was going to get shot? Like, why didn't it happen then? Like, I don't really understand that part of the story. That to me felt a little bit like he'd almost forgotten about that part of the story by the time he got to that other part to say, well, I've got to get him out of this mindset somehow. Do you know what I mean?
And it also was kind of similar. No, George Strawhacker is literally gunned down in the chest by Metz, but then no one kind of laments his death or anything. No one
gives a
no one dwells on it or anything. And this is a guy who is, Snake Eyes was going to marry Snake Eyes' sister, and it's kind of similar to that bit where those members of the October Guard get killed, and Dana just kind of brushes it off almost, and there's no panel time given to mourning or the fallen comrades, etc. And the same thing happens here. I mean, and I felt like, there's some really good bits. I'm looking at some panels here of Snake Eyes in the sewer. There's a panel,
the one in 106. There's some beautiful shots.
He's chucking a couple of these trench knives while he's under fire.
That is the best. That is beautiful, isn't it? With
there
the
is
ting, pui, splonk, vip. Yeah, beautiful.
There's some really, really good stuff here. And, when Major Blood, a couple of pages before, he's lining up Snake Eyes.
Oh,
but then,
the splash page is brilliant,
isn't it? The exposition gets a little bit too... he's been using a lot of it through this story, Larry Hama, because, like you mentioned, to explain Snake Eyes' actions, but it gets too much. So Major Blood has got a pot shot on, and he then starts using it for other characters. And Major Blood's got a pot shot, a back shot presents itself. He's going to shoot him in the back, and a guy's popped out the sewer, and it's hit the guy in the back of the head, and it's obvious what's happened. He had a shot on Snake Eyes, a guy got in the way, blah, blah, blah. But Major Blood then has to explain, blasted bad timing on the part of that full security policeman. I would have blown Snake Eyes away with that shot if it hadn't popped out of the sewer. It doesn't. That dialogue.
It's
is not
over-egging
required.
the pudding, isn't it?
It's over-egging the pudding, yeah. And that does. I felt that happened pretty much on almost every page of this story. And
Yeah.
it was too much. And I hate to be the guy who's, slagging off a G.I. Joe comic, but it I don't know. I think I just wanted more from it, and I didn't get it.
There is a nice snap, crackle, and pop reference when Stalker and Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. I'm doing it myself now. When Stalker and Storm Shadow break out of the Statue of Liberty head and knock out all of the kind of mafia thugs that Crowther has hired.
So let me just clarify that they've now been taken. They got drugged. They got taken to the Statue of Liberty, and now they're going to be silenced. So now Crowther wants these guys killed. There's some guy, there's a domestic operations agent who has got some just hired goons. Am I right? One of them's got like a sledgehammer or a mallet.
Yeah, it's like proper like New York mafia kind of douchebags.
Right.
Yeah.
So these are and then, they're going up the stairs. This is going to be like shooting ducks in a barrel. But of course...
Gross. Imagine that for a second. Imagine shooting ducks in a barrel.
Yeah, that is not...
That's
not
anyway.
a British colloquialism. That's just a general colloquialism, I'm guessing.
We're going to have to change the theme tune for that.
Yeah. General colloquialism, no. But anyway, they bust in and the guys take them out. But then these bad guys, so to speak, have got a chopper waiting. And a big chopper that's going to lay the heat down. And they got a boat. And there's about 100 guys out here just to take out Storm Shadow and Stalker, but they get capped off like the fools they are. And that kind of leads us into issue 107. Now, this is an epilogue. I think it is an epilogue, and it is part of the story, because although we get the introduction of these Night Creepers, they're now tasked with continuing the storyline of trying to cap off Storm Shadow and Stalker, but instead of this time it being the jugglers who want them dead, it's now Cobra Commander who wants them dead.
Yep. And obviously the introduction of the Night Creepers is really cool. These kind of like high-tech ninjas that are, kind of freelancers. But I've always loved the Night Creepers ever since they were introduced, in the toy line and everything. I just thought they looked really cool. I thought that the premise was really awesome.
I love this opening page, as always, nice splash page, but I like the fact that you got CGs there. You got some Crimson Guard, who are one of my favourite designs for Cobra troops, and they're actually holding up torches manually. They're not in any kind of torch holder bracket on the wall. These guys are just holding up torches in the ruins of the Cobra Consulate building in New York.
It's funny how there's loads of like levels for all these different kind of Cobra troopers, and I remember we were talking to, was it Chris last time, about the Vipers that hold the flag behind Cobra Commander. It's like they have to do the most menial tasks, don't they?
Yep. Yeah. Why do the Night Creepers want in to the Cobra organisation? They just
contract. They want the money.
Oh, it's cash monies.
Hell yeah,
cash monies, baby. That's right. And they also mentioned this man is our enemy as well. But is that a backstory that's ever told? Not sure.
I don't think it is. Like, I kind of feel like they just if you're a ninja, you have some beef with like Storm Shadow or something. I don't know why.
You're right. And then, basically Cobra Commander said, this will be your test. So go and kill Storm Shadow for me, and then that'll be your entrance exam, so to speak.
Amazing. I think it's a cute little story. And again, it works nicely as like a one-off almost.
I've now got an advert here for another Nintendo game by Capcom, and it's a game I've never heard of, and I'm a massive fan of this franchise. And I'll give you the I'll see if you can guess the game. I'll give you the blurb.
Go for it.
But I don't know if it is part of the franchise or not. I don't know. Few live to finish this game. The whole thing started when you invented this radical formula that turns men into supermen, and someone stole it. You'll have to fight some very deadly interplanetary characters to get it back, and that's just for starters. In the game, one of the toughest games for Nintendo ever. Play it today. You might even live to tell about it. Maybe.
Is that I'm guessing
no clue. If you guess this, I literally will fly over to America and shake your hand.
I know it, but the thing is, like, what I'm saying is, I don't think it's part of what you think is the overall Street Fighter kind of.
I rescind my comment of flying over to America and shaking your hand, not because I want to, but A, because I've got a job, and B, I don't have the money.
Street Fighter 2010, the final fights.
Oh my god! Do you know everything about everything?
Not everything about everything, but I'm massive. I love old school vintage gaming and shit like that too. So
I'm just that though. Again, no collusion on Talking Joe. It's all straight ad hoc
I'm
stuff. But
I'm just a big Capcom fan, but I know that I know for a fact that I've seen that adverts like so many times as well.
Okay.
Like that one with it's got kind of white background with the the basic one with like the game in its box kind of on it, isn't it? Yeah.
So this is not anything to do with Street Fighter as we know it as a one-on-one.
Not that I'm aware of. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I know it might be like like an idea to do like a future version of it, but I've never seen it in any of the kind of Street Fighter franchise stuff.
No.
If that makes any sense.
And it is Street Fighter. It was Capcom as well, but this looks like a side-scrolling beat 'em up.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay, all right. There you go. Anyway, Chris knows everything about everything. Here we go. I've got another. Before we crack on the story, the next advert is for Fleer basketball cards.
Oh, amazing! I used to collect them as well.
Fleer 1990, and it's got pictures of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 basketball players. It's got.
Do you want me to guess them? Do you want me to guess them off the top of my head?
You can guess them, or I can give you slight clues. There's two rookie sensation cards.
Right.
One is a centre.
Right.
From 1990.
90 centre, let's say Pat Ewing?
No, he might have been a couple years before, I think.
He would have been late 80s, wouldn't he? I don't know, like Alonzo Mourning.
No, I can give his nickname. I think Alonzo Mourning was 92, possibly.
Go on then, tell me.
He's the Admiral.
Oh, David Robinson.
Correct. And the other rookie sensation, I don't think I'm aware of him. He's got a Minnesota Timberwolves jersey on. He's a guard. And
guard Timberwolves. My mate had the jersey. I can't think of his name. I know the player you're talking about. 32.
He's covering up his jersey with his hand and his balls. I can't see. His first name is something. It's not a number 1. It's a number 2.
It's not Mashburn, is it?
Winnie the
Pooh.
Yeah, Pooh Richardson.
Pooh Richardson. No, I was thinking of Jamal Mashburn. I was thinking of.
He's a bit later, I think.
He definitely is. Yeah.
Then I've got 3 here. These are all Hall of Famers. Or it must be.
It's got to be Jordan.
He is in there. He was one of the All-Star cards.
Yeah.
Sorry, I wasn't counting him. There's 3 others. One is a guard. 2 are forwards.
Okay.
One was part of a big 1-2 punch between this guy's a guard.
Peyton and Kemp.
No.
Stockton and Malone.
Yeah, there you go, John Stockton. The 2 forwards. One played his whole career for one team in the East. The other one played for many teams, but he's won quite a few championships. How many championships has he won? He won the rebounding title a few times.
Like Moses Malone or someone like that.
No. He's a Looney Tune now.
Oh, Dennis Rodman.
Dennis Rodman, yeah, one of my favourites. And the other forward...
Was that him at the Pistons?
That was him at the Pistons, yeah.
Yeah.
But he's not. He wasn't a rookie then. It's just his basic card.
Sure.
And this is a long segment.
I know, but I'm enjoying it. I'm a big basketball fan.
Me
so
too.
This is great.
Me too. Basically, if you don't enjoy it, tough.
And
the other guy,
I must add, I played semi-pro in the UK as well. The Kings of Fury, yeah, for like 5 years.
Wicked. Nice, well done. And then the other guy this guy's a legend, and he used to reportedly after games finished and everyone had gone home, he stayed in the gym and shot 500 free throws after every game, supposedly. How many championships did he win? 2, maybe. In the East, had a big rivalry with a team in the West. It's probably the marquee rivalry.
Celtics.
Yes.
So we're talking 90.
Yeah. Again, this is not a rookie card. This is just a regular card.
It's not Bird.
Yes, it is Bird.
Oh, okay, right, okay. I thought by 90, I thought Bird and Johnson would have been out of the picture completely. Completely,
Bird played in the Dream Team in '92, didn't he? So I think he was still maybe.
But he was like at the end. It was almost like they were just like when Jordan was at the Wizards almost. Do you know what I mean? Like I felt like it was. Anyway, carry on. Any others?
That's it. I think we were talking about G.I. Joe comics.
Who cares right now? All I want to do is watch vintage basketball.
All right, there's a new show. There's a new segment coming up. Chris names the basketball cards. Don't tempt me because I'll do it. I'll sing a theme tune.
Playing with the balls. Yeah, totally.
So shall I say a bit more? Storm Shadow and Stalker have unbelievable.
It's unbelievable, Jeff!
Storm Shadow and Stalker have escaped from the Statue of Liberty, and they've made their way through the subway. There's some more street toughs. These are not the street toughs we saw.
These are a bit harder looking, but they
These are a bit harder looking. Yeah, they got
this handed to them about 6 times, don't they?
No Bronx Gym guys here. No, these guys don't even. They pull a knife, but Stalker just gives him you mess with me, I'll just put a mean hurt on you. You mess with my man over here, he's going to break your mama's heart. You catch my drift? And that's it.
And that sends them packing.
And Scarlet actually runs into these hoods a bit later, or they might be different hoods, and she lays the smack down on him. But there's a nice panel here as the guys get off the subway, because they're on their way to Storm Shadow's home, which is the water tower, the water cooler. And there's a guy who's he's like a panhandler kind of guy. He's got a pot and it says, "I'm blind." And Storm Shadow drops a few coins in there. "Here you go, sport." And the guy goes, "Thanks. Where's the costume party?"
I know,
Clearly
that's
not
amazing.
blind.
That's amazing. Also, I can say that the street toughs that Scarlet fights are also the same.
Ah, brilliant. Excellent.
It's old Sleeveless in Seattle and his two mate Johnny 50s and and generic other man.
Yes. Why didn't they get figures? Is that your Chris Talks Toys? Are you talking about the street toughs?
Chris Talks Toys. No.
No. Night Creepers have gone to Statue of Liberty, but obviously our guys aren't there. Then they decide to assault the water tower by climbing up the side of the building, because that's the only way in. During this time, Scarlet has pulled a quick fast one, because she's in bed and in the hospital, and Hawk said, "You are not leaving, you're under supervision and care." But she's kidnapped her sister, if you will, and put her in the broom closet and taken her clothes and snuck out of the hospital, because in her mind, she now knows that Snake Eyes is back, but she does not. Or no, does she know he's back from Barovia? She probably doesn't at this point.
No, she knows that the other guys are in trouble.
She wants to put a hurt on. No, she wants to put a hurt in on Storm Shadow, because she found out that Storm Shadow sent Snake Eyes to Barovia.
Yeah.
And she's like, "What'd you do that for? You? I'm coming to get you." And she ends up actually sticking a knife in his back.
Yeah, the knife that she gets off the street toughs.
Yes. Wait, yes. Holy moly. Unfortunately, for those not fans of basketball cards, I've just come across another advert.
Here we go.
This is for NBA hoops.
Nice.
The last one, which is Fleer. Right, here we go then. I've got 5 cards. I've got 5 cards on this page. Yeah. 2 of which were carryovers from the last one, so we won't go over those. That's Michael Jordan and Larry Bird.
Of course.
3 different cards, all Hall of Famers.
Right.
One was
Kemp.
No, but he was part of a tandem that we talked
Peyton.
about. No.
Okay. Stockton. Malone.
Yeah, Malone. Carl Malone.
Okay.
And it says, "You know they can play. What else do you know?" Because on the back of each card, it's got a fun fact. And the fun fact they've given for Malone is an easy one. I'm embarrassed to read it out. I'm going to. What is his nickname?
The Mailman.
Yes, because he always delivers.
Oh, I thought it was because he was male.
Yeah, because he was. That'd be amazing.
The female man.
Then you've got another guy here who is. This guy was on. No, this guy was he on the Dream Team. Must have been on the Dream Team.
If they've got a card, they probably were on the Dream Team.
He wore shirt number 11.
Ooh.
He led the league in assists for a few seasons. He was very, very close friends with another guy, the last guy, which we haven't come to yet. But I think then they had a falling out. I'm not sure if they're friends again now. Doesn't really help anyway. He won a title. He won 1 title with one of the guys from the Fleer lot.
Jeez.
This guy's a guard. I'll give you a clue. It's a big clue, but I want to get this segment's running long now.
I can always cut it down.
The team was known as the Bad Boys.
Oh, Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah, correct.
Do you know what? Like I almost had like a mental block on the Detroit Pistons while we were talking about players. Then, sorry, carry on.
And the last guy he was probably my favourite player. I started watching the first ever NBA I started watching was 1989.
Nice.
I think that was Pistons where they won the title against this team.
Oh, okay.
Unless they won in 90, I can't remember. But it was against this team. I think they beat this team in the finals. But this guy then became my favourite player. He had already won a title for his team in the late 80s, even mid 80s. Well, actually, this team won quite a few.
Jesus, why
titles.
Okay.
I can't give you his number because you'll get it. I can't give you his nickname because you'll get it.
What about his team?
Can't give you his team, you'll get it.
Okay, I'll just name every player I know then. Barkley, Miller.
Played in the West.
Oh, okay. It's not Lakers?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they've got him listed as he played all positions, and he actually
Magic.
Yes. Yeah, they've got him listed as a guard here, and I guess he was a 6'9" guard.
For some reason, I was avoiding I was avoiding all the major players for some reason. I'm like, it's got to be like some random.
One of the most famous, if not the most famous player of all time.
Had it not been for Michael Jordan, he would probably have been the most famous basketball player of all time.
I remember he came in. This was a couple of years after I started watching, but he came in when Kareem was injured.
Yeah,
and he came in and actually played centre for Game 7, I think, when they won the title against. I can't think when that was.
I remember playing centre.
Yeah, he's played all positions: guard, forward, centre.
I love watching his.
He revolutionised that guard position. 6'9" guard, ridiculous.
I loved watching his kind of highlight reel. My God!
Look passes.
That
behind
one
the back.
pass where he kind of like he's in his right hand. And he kind of shifts it in front of him one-handed as if he's going to play it to the left and to his left, and then like literally pulls it back the other way and dishes it off to the right. But it was the way he's holding the ball that's just so ridiculous.
And he's looking to the left. It probably even goes to James Worthy. Is that the one?
Yeah, with the dunk. Yeah, it was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Okay, well, there's still a few more pages in this comic, so you never know what we might find. But anyway, back to comics. If you're not,
there really aren't many pages left.
No,
because you've already mentioned the fact she stabbed him in the back.
Wait till we get to the NFL ones. So the Night Creepers have now assaulted Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes. Nice big fight scene. Nice panel there where Storm Shadow
and Scarlet.
Yeah. Storm Shadow's chucking a couple of throwing stars. Is that what I said?
Yeah, you said Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes.
Oh, did I?
Yeah,
they're all interchangeable.
I mean Scarlet. Now we've thrown another S into the mix. For God's sake!
But they've managed to escape into the subway just as Scarlet is leaving the subway with her knife from the street toughs, and as a load of arrows come their way, Storm Shadow grabs Scarlet to save her. They go onto the train tracks. The Night Creepers think they're dead, but they've managed to fall like in between a couple of cars. And this is where you find out that he tells her that Snake Eyes is still alive, and he'll put him in the Arashikage mindset. Everything's going to be fine. And then suddenly he slumps over because he's got a knife in his back.
And to be continued.
To be continued. Now, there are elements of this that roll over into 108, but it does kind of just cap off that whole Snake Eyes, Scarlet Storm Shadow stuff. But next episode, we'll be doing 108 to 111, and then the following will be 112 to 115. We'll be covering 8-issue story arc in 2 parts, and that is the big showdown in the desert, which obviously we'll come to next time. But as it stands here, we've now taken the 3 issues from last week and the 4 here. Let's rank this as a kind of 7-issue arc. I know, like I said, elements do roll over, but I think we've got enough here to be able to rank this because it is just mainly the October Guard and the Snake Eyes stuff.
I'm going to go with 6 overall.
Whoa, wowzers!
Some of the Snake Eyes stuff brings it up, but then some of the other elements bring it down. There's just a lot in there that I just wasn't that fussed about. Like, There's a lot of stuff, even in the Snake Eyes story, that I have no real major love for. But yeah, so I'm going to be brutal on this one,
fair,
even though it's probably not even the worst one I've read so far. And but the problem because it covers a lot of issues.
Yep.
It tends to like pull me one way and then pull me another quite often. And by the time I finished with it, I was like, okay. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just the Night Creepers are cool to see, but yeah.
I think I'm going to give it a low 7, and it's a shame because those first 3 issues we did last week, I was digging the scene there. It was really good, and then this just petered out, and if I always like the going out the door test kind of thing, or if I've got a choice between, the Snake Eyes trilogy plus that prologue bit, or the 97 to 100, or this 7-issue arc, what am I going to choose? And I'm probably never going to choose this to read over those ones.
Yeah, sure.
And the 7 issues, I know I decided for us that we're going to rank it as 7, but even splitting it up, I'm probably not going to revisit it as often as I'm going to revisit other stuff. So low 7 for me.
I agree. Yeah, agreed.
As always, after talking comics, someone needs to talk about toys, and it sure as heck ain't me. So it's time for Chris Talks Toys.
Chris talks about toys, ho ho. Chris talks about G.I. Joe. He talks about all the things from the comic book and the animated show. Chris talks about toys. Chris talks about toys. Chris talks about toys. Chris talks about toys.
Yes, it is. And this time, I was kind of umming and ahhing because obviously when I decided to kind of pick who I wanted to do the toy focus on, way before you said, let's add 107 to the mix. And had I known we were doing 107, I probably would have looked at the Night Creeper because I just think it's an amazing figure. And, again, comes under that kind of same era that I've been talking about, because we're stuck in that year where I was in the States buying toys as a kid. Yep. So unfortunately we just get that story over and over again for this element of issues.
Sorry to interrupt, quick update. The Grapefruit Fanta is still going strong.
I finished mine, so
okay.
Yeah,
right.
Okay, cool.
Right. Oh, continue.
Good updates. Yeah, so how much have you got left?
A couple of swigs maybe.
Okay, so
but having said that, it's starting to get a little bit sugary, that kind of aftertasty, I'll probably wash it down with a kombucha. No chance.
Balance it out. Okay, so I have gone for, this time, Tundra Ranger Stalker version 2, obviously, of Stalker. And in the United States, he was released in 89, and obviously I was there in 89, and I was picking figures off the shelves, and this one stood out to me for 3 reasons. One, I knew of Stalker, but I didn't have the original Stalker, so this was my first Stalker. Stop saying Stalker. And and so that was quite important. 2, the design on this guy is so unique and so cool and so interesting that I was like immediately drawn to it. 3, the card art, beautiful card art in his kayak, again, like really striking, and considering he also comes with a kayak.
Yep.
It didn't give you much space to fit the artwork onto that card. So what they had to do is, obviously it was slightly different than a lot of the other figures. There was a lot more going on with this particular figure in terms of accessories. So they made the bubble really big. The kayak goes all the way to the right-hand side, which is usually a space given to the figure. The figure's shifted almost to the middle of the card, and the rest of his accessories are further over to the left-hand side of the card. So you've only got this little segment in which to kind of squeeze the card art in. So the ingenious people that they were, they decided to paint him in his kayak to make it so that the angle could work and you could actually see him in kind of like an action pose. And it's really just awesome. So both the UK and the US cards are very similar in their layout of the bubble, and also the card art is very similar. It looks like on the UK version, which came out in 91, or European version, obviously the cards are taller, so you get a bit more space to kind of maneuver in, but they actually cut out a little bit more of the art. So there's a little kind of side element that goes onto the canoe that kind of almost balances it, and that is kind of almost cut off on the UK card, which is quite interesting. Anyway, I'm getting a bit boring here, but effectively they're very similar cards. In terms of file cards, they're pretty much identical. The UK had already switched over to full G.I. Joe releases. They weren't G.I. Joe: A Real American Hero. If you look at the 2 logos, the UK/European version has got this really polished G.I. Joe, slightly thinner kind of logo. Really nice, sexy kind of, high-end design. And the G.I. Joe: A Real American Hero one is still that kind of very organic original logo that's got, if you look at it really closely, you can kind of see not imperfections, but it's not as clean and precise as this version. So there's those 2 differences, obviously. And there's this kind of really nice blue phased colour at the top left-hand corner of the UK and the European cards, which I really liked. In any case, Stalker is an amazing figure. So he's got this beanie on his head instead of his beret, kind of like a light green with this brown camo splotches on it. He's got this white winter jacket with yellow and red kind of accents on the front kind of pocket areas and pouch areas. Underneath that white jacket, he's got this, again, kind of carrying on that green and brown camouflage kind of shirt underneath. And then he's got these big green kind of gloves, like padded gloves, because you obviously need that in the tundra. And then his pants are really cool as well, or his trousers are really cool, I should say. The kind of green continues, and the camouflage goes like slowly kind of transforms down the trousers to go to kind of merge into the big brown boots he's got, which is quite cool kind of look as well. And then he's got like molded details on like a knife on his boot, and I think like another pouch on his side. I think it's a pouch. Yeah, it's a pouch with lots of different details on it. But again, really, really cool. Tons of texture and design in this figure. Just an absolute tour de force of design. I absolutely loved him. And obviously the accessories he comes with are mental. As I said, the kayak, the kind of side, there's like a piece that locks onto the backpack peg. Yes, there's a backpack peg on this kayak, so he can wear the bloody thing. The kind of piece slots onto the peg underneath, sticks out the side, and you stick another backpack pegged element on the other side, and it acts as a balancing mechanism if he's in water, which I thought was really cool. And again, like full of details. He's got like an amazing like brown machine gun that slots into the front of the kayak, and the kayak's got loads of details on it, as well as like these 2 oxygen tanks that are kind of molded in there, and some other beautiful details too. It's really cool, really like high-end detail on this. He's obviously got his oars, so he can actually row the bloody thing. He's got a really interesting silver knife, kind of like machete type knife with a really cool like flared detail at the top of the blade. He's got this really cool machine gun, which I think is kind of almost like, I'm not sure if it was a real one. I think it's based on a few different designs, but it's really cool. It's got like a night sight, long barrel rifle type style, and almost like the magazine goes in at an angle, but it's a rectangular magazine, so it's really cool. All in white as well. Really nice kind of detail on that. And then on top of that, he's got this really neat mask, which is like obviously goes over the top of his hat and face, and there's details on it, but it's all white, so there's no kind of like, you can't see any, I don't know, there's no, they should put, I think they should have done something over the eyes just so you know that you can see through it. But yeah, it's really, really cool, and overall an absolute beauty of a figure. Now I'm going to read through his file card quickly. Codename Stalker, Tundra Ranger, file name Lonzo R. Wilkinson, serial number 7240543WL39, primary military specialty infantry, secondary military specialty medic interpreter, birthplace Detroit, Michigan, grade E7, one of the original members of the G.I. Joe team. Stalker served in the same LRRP, Long Range Reconnaissance Patrol, unit with Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow in Southeast Asia. He is a graduate of the Army Language School in Monterey, the Intelligence School at Fort Holabird, and the Ranger School at Fort Benning. Stalker is also a qualified jump instructor and a qualified expert in all NATO and Warsaw Pact small arms. He's kind of like the best all-rounder, isn't he? Like, as a G.I. Joe member, he's one of the all-rounder kind of guys, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, medic, interpreter, infantry, squad leader, jump training. He does everything and doesn't get as much props as, say, Snake Eyes and so on and so forth. But anyway, the quote is, pick a place where nobody in his right mind wants to fight, and you can bet your bottom dollar you're going to have to slog in there and blast into a firefight someday. The tundras of the world are flat, desolate and cold in the nastiest, wettest way. If you want a foxhole, you have to scratch it out of permafrost inch by inch. Having to fight in the tundra zaps the strength out of the average soldier and dulls his spirit. All it does to Stalker is make him meaner than he is already. That is Stalker version 2, G.I. Joe, 1991 in the UK, 1989 in the United States.
Excellent. Good stuff, as always. Love that dude. There'll be more Talking Toys next week, as always, I hope. Yeah, I know you said you were going to do Tempted by the Night Creepers after I sprung it onto you 5 minutes before we started recording, but there'll be plenty of opportunities to bring those boys back at some point.
Totally.
So,
I need to talk about them. They're amazing.
I need to hear it. So good stuff. It is about time, though, for some British colloquialisms, a.k.a. over-egging the pudding.
We got a pudding, we're gonna egg it. We got a pudding, we're gonna over-egg it. We got a pudding, we got no criticisms. That means it's time for some British colloquialisms.
Over-smegging the pudding.
Yeah, what you got for us this week, my friend?
Well, this week's a funny one, because obviously I've been over in Ohio for the weekend, and I got to chatting with a couple of friends over there, and I brought up a story that happened way, way before, but I thought, do you know what? This counts as happening in the week. So I was explaining to one of my American friends about the term in the UK known as to bum a fag, or bumming a fag, which effectively means to borrow or take a cigarette from somebody.
Yes.
It's not what the United States of America version of that means at all.
No.
And the story was, I worked on a summer camp in New Jersey through like 2002 to about 2006. So every summer I would go out to New Jersey doing Camp America, and I would work at this summer camp called Camp Loema, which was amazing. I loved every second of it. It's actually shut down like the last year, I think, or recently. Okay. And it was really sad. Anyway, shout out to my Camp Loema alumni. So I was out there doing like basketball coaching and general counselling, and then eventually maintenance, because it just paid more money, believe it or not. And while I'm out there, the second or third year, I ended up kind of half recruiting other friends of my town where I was living in the UK. So the four of us, it was my friend Ash, my friend Al, and my friend Dan. Dan and I went the first year. Ash and Al came the second year, or the third year, and we ended up going as a big group, and it was tons of fun. And my mate Al, who is a hilarious dude, like really, long-term friend, love him to death. We were in a restaurant the first or second day we were there. We were waiting at a hotel to be picked up to go to the camp, and Al, we just finished eating, and Al wanted a cigarette, so we went outside, and there was a guy outside who he actually asked him, "Can I bum a fag off you?" Because he was still in UK mode. He didn't really think about what he was saying.
Yes.
And the guy, fortunately, the guy he was speaking to said, "You're lucky I know what you mean, because I've got English friends and we've joked about this in the past."
Hilarity ensued.
Exactly. He said, "But don't be using that term around here, because it won't it won't land properly." And he was like, "Yep, good idea." So from then on, ever since, bumming a fag has meant so many different things, but I just think it's a hilarious quote.
Yes. Use it in the right context.
Exactly.
Yes. And only in the cigarette context, I'm saying. So, yes. My one is, I was watching something on the TV the other day, and I can't even remember who it was, but there was some guy who's a right Looney Tune. It might have even been Boris, I think, new Prime Minister.
Boris Yeltsin.
Yeah, Boris Yeltsin, yeah. Might as well be. Boris Johnson, Prime Minister. And I said to the missus, this guy's a couple of sausage rolls short of a picnic.
Amazing.
Now, there's obviously different variations on that. My friend of mine used to say a couple of bockwurst short of a picnic, or a few cans short of a six-pack, or things like that. Basically, it just means not all there, a bit of a loony, a bit mad, a bit ditzy. So, but the one I used was a couple of sausage rolls short of a picnic.
Brilliant.
Excellent.
There'll be more sausage roll now.
Yeah, right. Greg's doing a very nice vegan one.
Yeah, I've heard. I'm going to be trying that bad boy out.
Yeah, it's good. I might get one tomorrow. There'll be more colloquialisms next week to hopefully confuse our non-UK friends. There is something that I need to do right now, though, and that is...
Chief asked Chris a question. Chief asked Chris a question. What'll he say? What'll he do when Chief asks Chris a question?
Hit me.
So this question this week is, will it be food related? Will it be animal related? Will it be pop culture? Ding, 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 pop culture. What is the best Soundwave cassette?
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. I mean, I was always a fan of Rumble.
Yes.
But that's not my answer.
Okay.
Because I just loved the fact his arms turned into those like pistons and then bang,
Yep.
bang. And then Frenzy does it anyway. So like it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But no, I'm always going to be a massive Ravage fan because it's just so sexy and cool, and I think he's just awesome. But Laserbeak's brilliant as well. Oh my god, this is difficult. I'm going to go with
quick question.
Ravage.
I am a Transformers fan. I've got all the IDW stuff, but I'm still a little bit naive and a bit unclear.
Okay.
Is Buzzsaw just a different naming convention for Laserbeak, or is that a separate entity?
character?
Separate
character.
Okay.
Yep.
And he was also a cassette, or not?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, he's from the original G1 Buzzsaw. So he's a completely different character, different
Okay, got
deco, completely different. But he's a different deco of Laserbeak.
Oh, so same Rumble Frenzy, same
Yeah.
design, but different deco. Okay.
Different deco. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I do actually. I think my favourite cassette though comes with Blaster Ramhorn.
Okay. Yeah.
The one that's like the
It's like a bull.
yeah. Well, it's like a little rhino, I think.
Okay. Good stuff. That's all we got time for on Talking Joe episode 38 this week. Join us next week for episode 39, where if you want to do your homework, we'll be covering issues something or other, I don't know, 108, 109, 110 and 111, which will be the first part of the war in Trucia Abysmal. Exciting times coming up. People will not make it out alive. Spoiler. But you can find us in all the normal places. It's Talking Joe Comics on Instagram. It's talkingjoecomics@gmail.com. It's Talking_Joe on Twitter. And it's Talking Joe, a G.I. Joe podcast on Facebook. If you want to do us a favour, on iTunes and leave us a rating and a review, give us 5 stars, etc. Do it. Why not? Bump us up the charts. Funky iTunes algorithm that no one knows how it works. It will help us out in the long run, but you don't have to. We just like you listening. And where can the good people find you, Mr. Diagnostic 80, if they would like to do such a thing?
Diagnostic 80 on Twitter and Instagram, and of course the Full Force podcast on literally everything: Facebook, Twitter, and then Podbean, iTunes, and Stitcher on YouTube. But also Patreon as well, if you want to give us loads of money to tell us how amazing Iron is.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, something I was going to mention, but we're running extra long, and I'm not going to now, so I'll do it for next week. So, with that said and done, we'll see you down the road.
Bye. Yeah.